All right. This is a new tutorial where I had a student and I decided to do a painting on paper again. This is gray neutral gesso number, I think it's a 5. It's by Liquitex. The paints are the Winsor Newton Alkyd brand. And the thing I like about them is they're fast drying. They've kind of, I've been testing them out just to see if I could like speed up maybe a part of the process, meaning that you could do an underpainting in like Alkyd, which is like a faster drying oil, and then maybe come back and keep painting on it and with, traditional oils, which is just linseed. But it's been a while now. I've been exploring it, and I've been doing classes on painting on paper. It's not quite archival, but anyway, it's been fun, and it's definitely loosened me up even more. And one of the things I like to do, I love loose paintings, and I feel like with every one I do, I'm getting maybe a step closer to my ultimate goal, which is to get even looser. At the beginning here, I reached into the box and just to see what I had, and I had raw umber. I typically start with burnt umber, but burnt and raw umber nearly the same. Well, they're very similar, I should say. Raw umber is the raw version of the pigment, and then when it's calcined and when it's thrown into a kiln, it's cooked. It shifts in color spacing, it gets higher chroma, it gets red orange. You can see there's not really a lot of measuring going on. I don't think I measure at all actually in this demo. So for me, getting in the studio, I mean, for me, the ultimate goal is to maybe someday like not have to measure. And I think, I get asked a lot, like, what do you feel about measuring? I feel like you should do it until you get really good at it. And then once you've trained your eyes, of what to see, then you can probably move away from it for a little bit. So it's up to you. There's not like a number that I could give you. It could take 100 paintings. It could take 500 paintings. I measured a ton when I was at Water Street, and it really made it so that you understand why you do it. So now I'm just putting in the red, and the 2 reds I have out, which are kind of random even at this point. I had quinacridone magenta and cad red light. Now the cad red light is actually from a different brand called CAS Alkyds, and I think they're higher quality than the Winsor Newton. The Winsor Newton ones they almost feel like watery, like a Winton paint. That blue at the bottom right is Payne's Gray. I've been kind of lumping my blacks and my grays together at the bottom right, in this Alkyd palette, and that just makes it so that things that are like nearly black, or even like the same position that you keep it in on the palette, makes it so that I know where to grab it. So I'm going to use it kind of as my black. I couldn't find ivory black, and I thought, what does it matter? Payne's Gray is nearly the same in mass tone, and mass tone just means like in the thick globby, thickness out of the tube. A lot of the thing I'm not a fan of, and that's just titanium white with a little bit of, I think it's the magenta, but you can see I'm just kind of grazing it across the surface. It's not really working it in. You see that? And it's actually grabbing into the gray or the kind of gray of the raw umber. And what that does is just makes it so that it's textural and soft. But there's so much to learn still with flowers. This is one of the things I love about them the most. No matter how many times you paint them, I feel like there's a gazillion ways to do it, and I'm probably gonna just continue to do these. Now that's I try to stay away from brown these days. Some of the earlier flower paintings, and you probably, the audience have noticed that the paintings have shifted. I was using brown in my shadows for a long time. I don't know. I just feel like it's just getting better at flowers, and you can almost like intentional study of flowers, meaning like doing it and being engaged in it and trying out some new techniques and stuff like that. I just finished one up of some flowers recently. Something to do with love. Something to do with love is the name of the painting, and it just allowed me to kind of play around with glazing at the beginning. Not so much glazing on this. This is more direct. I mean, these are, to me, it's not like there's a manual on how much time you want to spend on these, but I like to spend about somewhere between a half an hour to an hour on them, and it's just like journaling or something or sketching. It just allows me to really just let go, try something out. So I'm trying to set that up, and Sargent always painted into a background. I think it's a fair thing to even say everyone should do. And what that does is it makes it so that the objects are relating to each other. Now, this is similar to, I would say, like a poster study. And I remember doing poster studies, and I feel like I'm a broken record with the poster study thing. But poster studies to me are like essentially everything you need in a painting, because it's the essence of what you need. You can add more to it if you wanted to, but it doesn't mean it's going to get better. I recently been having a lot of conversation with the students too. I think when students first begin, or that like the language is new of painting, they think that detail is what is most desirable in a painting, And I think it's interesting because, like, does the most detail in a painting mean that it's better than another one? And for me, I'd actually go the other way and say I'm more interested in the poetry of paintings. Like the least amount of detail. Like, what is it that you could leave out that still articulates the form? I think that's harder. Anybody can learn how to put in a ton of detail. And there are ways in which you've seen, I mean, Chuck Close's work was hyper-realist when it first came out. And he was just kind of bringing things down into kind of pixels. And I think anybody could do that. I mean, you could train, anyone with enough time could do that. But can you be restrained and, like, in a short amount of time, paint something that's the essence of the form? I mean, that's where I think the painters are Sargent and Cecilia Beau and, Sorolla. Philip de Laszlo is another great one. I would throw Frank Benson in there, the American Impressionists, and Mary Cassatt is another favorite of mine. Berta Morisot, Eva Gonzalez. There's a ton that are really in that sweet spot, Fontaine Latour, that don't paint everything. It feels like a painting. It feels like an expressive form. But anyway, I don't get into telling anyone what their painting should look like. You could agree with that or not. It doesn't particularly matter. But, there are all different methodologies out there for whatever floats your boat. So what I'm trying to do here is just kind of move fast and trying to get the essence of it. The beauty of it is that that thumbnail, even in the shot right now, is very small, and it's kind of like that's it. And I feel like my eyes are getting worse, and I think that my paintings are getting even looser, and I wonder, because that happened to Degas too, and I think Monet as well. Their eyes went